Nobody really noticed Raymond anymore. He'd been working at Riverside Mall for 3 years now, and somewhere along the way he'd just become part of the background. Like the potted plants near the food court or the broken clock that nobody bothered to fix. He was just there. At 52 years old, Raymond didn't look like much. His hair had gone mostly gray. He walked with a limp that made him slower than everyone else. His uniform was always a bit too big, hanging off his thin frame like it belonged to someone else. When he made his rounds through the mall, people looked right through him. Teenagers didn't even bother to hide their phones when he walked by. Store owners barely nodded when he checked their locks at closing time. The other security guards weren't mean to him exactly. They just treated him like he didn't matter. The younger guys would laugh and joke around, sharing stories about their weekends, but they never included Raymond in the conversation. When there was a real problem, a shoplifter, a fight in the parking lot, someone causing trouble, they handled it themselves. Raymond got the easy jobs. Check the doors. Watch the cameras. Walk around the quiet parts of the mall where nothing ever happened. His supervisor, a guy named Johnson, barely spoke to him most days. When he did, it was always simple instructions. Raymond, take the north entrance today. Or Raymond, keep an eye on the loading dock, never anything important. Never anything that required actual security work. What none of them knew, what Raymond never talked about, was who he used to be. 15 years. That's how long Raymond had worked as a hostage negotiator for the city police department. 15 years of talking people down from the edge. 15 years of walking into situations where one wrong word could get someone killed. He'd been good at it too. Really good. His record showed 17 successful negotiations. 17 times he'd convinced someone with a weapon, and nothing to lose that there was another way. He remembered every single one of them. The father who'd taken his kids and barricaded himself in his house during a custody dispute. The teenager who'd brought a gun to school because the bullying had become too much. The war veteran having a breakdown in a convenience store, thinking he was back in combat. Raymond had talked to all of them, found the right words, made them feel heard, helped them see a way forward. But that was before the accident. Raymond didn't like thinking about that night. He'd just finished a 12-hour negotiation at a downtown bank. A desperate man with gambling debts had held 3 employees at gunpoint, demanding money he thought the bank owed him. It took Raymond half a day, but eventually the man put down his weapon. Nobody got hurt. The employees went home to their families. Raymond had felt good driving home that night, tired but satisfied. He never saw the drunk driver coming. The crash happened at an intersection 3 blocks from his apartment. One moment Raymond was stopped at a red light. The next his whole world was spinning, metal crunching, glass exploding. He woke up in a hospital 2 days later. The doctors told him he was lucky to be alive. His left knee was destroyed. 3 surgeries later he could walk again, but not like before. There was always pain, always a limp, always a reminder. The police department offered him a desk job. They wanted to keep him, said his experience was too valuable to lose. But Raymond couldn't do it. Couldn't sit behind a desk while other people did the real work. Couldn't be the guy who used to be something. So he'd quietly turned in his resignation, taken his pension, and disappeared. For a while he didn't work at all, just stayed home, watched too much television, felt sorry for himself. But eventually the walls started closing in. He needed to do something, needed to feel useful again. That's when he saw the ad for a security guard position at Riverside Mall. No special skills required. No physical fitness test, just someone to walk around and make sure everything was okay. It was perfect. Nobody would know him. Nobody would expect anything from him. He could just be a regular guy with a regular job. And for 3 years, that's exactly what he'd been. Raymond arrived at the mall on Black Friday morning just like always. The parking lot was already filling up even though the sun had barely risen. People loved their deals, loved the rush of getting something on sale. Raymond had never understood it, but he didn't judge. Everyone needed something to get excited about. He badged in through the employee entrance and headed to the security office. Johnson was already there, looking stressed. The big shopping day always made him nervous. "Raymond," Johnson said without looking up from his computer, "I need you on parking lot duty today. Just keep an eye on things out there. Make sure people aren't blocking the lanes, watch for any problems. The real security will handle the crowds inside." The real security. Raymond had heard variations of that phrase 100 times. It didn't sting anymore. He just nodded, sure thing. I'll grab some coffee and head out. Johnson was already focused on something else, talking into his radio about staffing positions. Raymond poured himself a cup of coffee from the pot in the corner. It was already cold, but he didn't mind, and headed back outside. The morning air was crisp. Raymond found his usual spot near the main entrance where he could see most of the parking lot. He sipped his coffee and watched the cars roll in. Families with kids, couples hunting for Christmas presents, groups of friends making a day of it. Everyone looked excited, happy. Raymond checked his watch. 9:30. The mall would open in 30 minutes and then things would get crazy. But out here in the parking lot, it would stay quiet. It always did. He'd spend the day walking his slow circuits, making sure shopping carts didn't block the lanes, maybe helping someone who locked their keys in their car. Just another day of being invisible. He had no idea that in less than an hour, everything would change. That the skills he'd buried for years would come rushing back. That the people who thought he was weak, who thought he didn't matter, would see him in a completely different way. But right now, in this moment, Raymond was just a quiet man with a limp, drinking cold coffee in a mall parking lot, watching the world go by without really seeing him at all. And he was okay with that. Or at least that's what he told himself. By 10 in the morning, the mall was absolutely packed. Raymond had never seen it this busy. Cars were circling the parking lot like sharks hunting for any empty space. People were getting impatient, honking at each other, squeezing into spots that were way too small. It was chaos, but the normal kind of chaos. Nothing Raymond couldn't handle. He was making his rounds near the south entrance when he noticed the white van. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. Just another vehicle looking for parking. But something made Raymond keep watching it. Maybe it was his old training kicking in. Maybe it was instinct. Whatever it was, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The van circled the lot once, then twice, then a third time, but it never parked, never even slowed down near an empty spot. The windows were tinted so dark that Raymond couldn't see inside. Not even a shadow. He pulled out his radio. "Hey, Johnson. Got a white van circling the lot. Can't see the plates from here, but it's been around 3 times without parking. Might be nothing, but thought you should know." Static crackled. Then Johnson's voice came through, distracted. "Copy that, Raymond. Probably just someone looking for a spot. Keep an eye on it, but we've got our hands full inside. Some lady is screaming about a television." Raymond clipped the radio back to his belt. Johnson was right. It was probably nothing. Black Friday made people act strange. Maybe the driver was just being picky about parking spots. But Raymond kept watching anyway. The van made another loop. This time it slowed down near the main entrance. Raymond's chest tightened. Something was definitely wrong. He started walking toward the entrance, his limp making him slower than he wanted to be. His knee was already aching from the cold and all the standing, but he pushed through it. That's when everything went sideways. The van didn't circle again. It screeched to a stop right in front of the main doors, blocking the entrance. The back doors flew open before the van even stopped moving completely. 4 people jumped out, all wearing black masks that covered their faces. Raymond's blood went cold when he saw what they were carrying. Guns. Real ones. They rushed through the main entrance like they'd practiced it. Through the glass doors, Raymond could hear the screaming start almost immediately. People running. Crashing sounds. More screaming. His radio exploded with noise. Multiple voices all talking at once, panic bleeding through every word. Shots fired. "We have shots fired! Main concourse, multiple suspects with weapons! Get everyone out! Get everyone out now! Where's backup? Somebody call the police." Raymond's hands were shaking. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here, not at a mall on Black Friday. This was supposed to be his quiet day watching the parking lot. He looked around. Other security guards were running toward the side exits, helping people escape. Smart. That's what they were trained to do. Get the civilians out. Let the police handle the armed suspects. Don't be a hero, but Raymond wasn't moving. His feet felt glued to the ground. Because he'd seen something everyone else had missed. The van was still there. Engine still running. Back doors still open. And someone was still inside it, sitting in the driver's seat. This wasn't just a robbery. This was planned. The van was the escape route. Whoever was inside was waiting to drive the others away the second they came back out. And with Black Friday traffic and confusion, They could disappear before police even set up roadblocks. Raymond's radio crackled again. Johnson's voice sharp and commanding. All units evacuate civilians through side exits. I repeat, evacuate civilians only. Raymond, where are you? Parking lot near the main entrance, Raymond said, still staring at the van. Stay back. Do not approach. You're not equipped for this. Just help people get to their cars safely. Police are 2 minutes out, 2 minutes. Raymond knew from experience that 2 minutes could feel like a lifetime when people had guns. 2 minutes was enough time for everything to go completely wrong. He should listen to Johnson. Should stay back. Should do what he was told. He was just a parking lot guard. An old guy with a bad knee who nobody took seriously. What could he possibly do against armed criminals? But as he stood there, Raymond's mind was racing. Not with fear. With calculations. With strategy. With the same mental process that had guided him through 15 years of negotiations. The suspects inside had probably taken hostages by now. That's what people did when a robbery went wrong and they were trapped. They needed leverage. Something to bargain with. And from the sounds coming through the radio, things had definitely gone wrong in there. Police would surround the building. Would set up a perimeter. Would bring in their own negotiators. Standard procedure. Raymond knew it by heart because he used to be part of that procedure. But here's what worried him. In the confusion, in the chaos with Black Friday crowds and traffic and panic, would police get there in time? Would they be able to set up fast enough? Or would the suspects come running back out, hostages in tow, and disappear in that van before anyone could stop them? Raymond looked at the van again. The driver's window was cracked open just slightly. He could see movement inside. Whoever was in there was getting nervous, probably listening to police sirens in the distance. His knee throbbed. His hands were still shaking. Every logical part of his brain was screaming at him to walk away, to let the professionals handle it, to remember that he wasn't that person anymore. He was just Raymond, the quiet guard nobody noticed, but then he heard it. Through the chaos and the sirens and the radio chatter, the sound of a child crying, coming from inside the mall. A little kid, terrified, probably separated from their parents in the panic, and just like that, Raymond's hands stopped shaking. The fear didn't go away. But it got quieter, pushed into the background by something stronger, something he thought he'd lost in that car accident 3 years ago. Purpose. He unclipped his radio and turned the volume down. He didn't want Johnson yelling at him for what he was about to do. Then Raymond started walking toward the van, his limp barely noticeable now as adrenaline took over. He wasn't just a parking lot guard anymore. Not right now. Right now he was who he used to be, and that person knew exactly what to do. The driver in the van hadn't noticed him yet. Raymond had maybe 30 seconds before police arrived. 30 seconds to make a choice that would either save lives or end his own. He kept walking. Behind him, more people were running out of the mall, screaming about gunshots and hostages. Ahead of him, the van's engine rumbled, ready to drive away at any moment. And Raymond, the guard everyone thought was weak, was walking straight toward it. Raymond approached the van from the side, staying in the driver's blind spot. His old training was coming back like muscle memory. Never approach from the front where they can see you coming. Never make sudden movements. Control your breathing. Stay calm. His knee was screaming at him, but he ignored it. He'd learned to live with pain. This was just another day of pushing through. When he got close enough, Raymond could see the driver clearly through the side window. A kid, couldn't be more than 20 years old. His hands were gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles had gone white. Sweat was running down the side of his face even though it was cold outside. The kid kept looking at the mall entrance, then at his mirrors, then back at the entrance. Over and over, he was terrified. That was good. Fear meant the kid wasn't a hardened criminal. Fear meant there might be a chance. Raymond moved closer until he was right next to the driver's window. Then he did something that probably seemed crazy to anyone watching. He knocked on the glass, gently, like he was just asking for directions. The kid jumped so hard he nearly hit his head on the roof. His hand shot toward something on the passenger seat. Raymond couldn't see what it was, but he could guess. Easy, Raymond said, his voice calm and steady. He raised both hands slowly, showing they were empty. I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to talk. The kid stared at him through the window. His eyes were wide, panicked. He looked like he might throw up. Are you crazy, old man? Get away from here. The kid's voice was high-pitched, cracking with fear. Just get away. I can't do that, Raymond said. Still calm, still steady. This was the voice he'd used dozens of times before. The voice that said, I'm not your enemy. What's your name, son? I'm not telling you anything. You need to leave right now. Okay, that's okay. You don't have to tell me. Raymond kept his hands visible. But I need you to know something important. In about 60 seconds, maybe less, this entire parking lot is going to be surrounded by police. You hear those sirens? They're getting closer. The kid heard them. Everyone could hear them now. Multiple cars coming from different directions. Your friends inside the mall, Raymond continued. They're not coming back out. Not the way they planned. It's already over for them, but you still have a choice right now. A real choice. And you need to make it fast. You don't know what you're talking about. The kid was shaking now. They're coming back. We had a plan. Plans change, Raymond said. Especially when shots get fired. When people get scared. When everything goes wrong. He took a small step closer. How many people are inside with guns? The kid's mouth opened, then closed. He was wrestling with himself. Part of him wanted to stay loyal to whoever was inside. Part of him was smart enough to know that Raymond was right. Come on, Raymond said gently.
Help me help you.
How many? 4, the kid finally said, his voice barely a whisper. 4 including my brother. There it was. The connection. The reason this kid was sitting in a getaway van instead of running away. Family. It was always family or love or loyalty. Something that made people do things they knew were wrong. Your brother, Raymond repeated. He talked you into this? Tears started running down the kid's face. He nodded. He said it would be easy. Just drive the van. Nobody would get hurt. We'd grab some money from the jewelry store and leave. That's all. But then everything... His voice broke. There was shooting. I heard people screaming. This wasn't supposed to happen. I know, Raymond said. And he meant it. He'd seen this exact scenario play out before. Desperate people making desperate plans that fell apart the second reality hit. What's your brother's name? The kid hesitated. Then, Vincent. His name is Vincent. Okay, Vincent. Is he the one in charge in there? Yeah, it was his idea, his plan. He lost his job 6 months ago. Lost his apartment. His girlfriend took their daughter and left. He's been sleeping on my couch and he just kept getting more and more angry. More desperate. The words were pouring out now. When he told me about this, I said no. I said it was crazy. But he said he had nothing left to lose. Said if I loved him, I'd help him. Raymond understood. The kid was caught between loyalty and survival. Between love and logic. Listen to me carefully, Raymond said, lowering his voice. I used to be a police negotiator. For 15 years, that was my job. Talking to people in situations exactly like this. And I'm going to tell you the truth right now, the truth nobody else will tell you. The kid was listening, really listening. When this is over, when the police make arrests, they don't care who pulled the trigger and who drove the van. In the eyes of the law, you're all equally guilty. You'll get the same sentence as Vincent. The same sentence as whoever fired those shots inside. Do you understand what I'm saying? More tears. The kid's whole body was shaking. I didn't shoot anyone. I didn't even go inside. I believe you, Raymond said. But unless you make a different choice right now, that won't matter. The only way this ends differently for you is if you help me stop this before more people get hurt. Police cars were screaming into the parking lot now. Raymond could see them setting up positions. They'd spotted the van. Officers were taking cover behind their vehicles, weapons drawn. In about 10 seconds, someone would be shouting commands through a megaphone. They're going to tell you to get out of the van with your hands up, Raymond said quickly. And you should do that. But first, I need you to tell me what's happening inside. How many hostages? Where are they? What does Vincent want? The kid was crying harder now. I don't know. Maybe 10 or 12 people. They're in the jewelry store. Vincent has a gun. So does Kenny and Luis, the fourth guy, Bobby. He's just watching the doors. What does Vincent want? Money. I don't know anymore. Nothing went right. The manager hit a silent alarm too fast. People started running. I think someone got hurt when they were pushing people around. Vincent was supposed to be in and out in 3 minutes. It's been almost 10 minutes now. He must be freaking out. Raymond's mind was working fast. Vincent was desperate before this started. Now he was trapped with hostages and police surrounding the building. That made him more dangerous, not less. Desperate people made terrible decisions. Give me your phone, Raymond said. What? Your phone. You have Vincent's number, right? Give it to me. I'm going to call him. He won't listen to you. Maybe not, but he'll listen to you. Raymond held out his hand. This is your chance. Right here, right now. You can help me save those people inside, including Vincent. Help me make sure everyone gets out of this alive, even your brother. Behind them, a police officer's voice boomed through a megaphone. Driver of the white van, turn off the engine and exit the vehicle with your hands up. Now. The kid looked at the mall entrance, then at the police, then at Raymond. His hand trembled as he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. His name is Vincent, the kid said again, placing the phone in Raymond's hand. He's all I have left. Please don't let them kill him. I won't, Raymond promised. But you need to get out of this van right now and surrender. Hands up, move slowly. Do exactly what they say. You understand? The kid nodded. He opened the door with shaking hands and stepped out, arms raised high. Police rushed forward, shouting commands, pulling him away from the van and down to the ground. Raymond stood there holding the phone, watching officers surround the kid. Then he turned and started limping toward the mall entrance. An officer tried to stop him, but Raymond pulled out his old police badge from his wallet. He'd never turned it in, never thought he'd need it again. I'm a negotiator, Raymond said, and I'm going in. The officer looked at the badge, then at Raymond's determined face. Something in Raymond's eyes must have convinced him, because he stepped aside. Raymond unlocked the kid's phone and found Vincent's number. His thumb hovered over the call button. Inside that mall were terrified people, a desperate man with nothing to lose, and probably minutes before something terrible happened. He pressed call and brought the phone to his ear. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then a voice answered, sharp and angry and scared. Why aren't you out here? Where's the van? Vincent, Raymond said calmly. My name is Raymond. I'm not a police officer. I'm just a security guard who wants to help. And I really need you to listen to me. There was silence on the other end of the line. Raymond could hear Vincent breathing fast and shallow. Could hear voices in the background. Someone crying. Someone else saying something he couldn't make out. Who is this? Vincent finally asked. His voice was different from what Raymond expected. Not cold or cruel. Just exhausted, scared. Where's my brother? What did you do to him? Your brother is safe, Raymond said, keeping his voice level. He's outside with the police. Nobody hurt him. He surrendered peacefully, which was the smartest thing he could have done. You're lying. He wouldn't just give up on me. He didn't give up on you, Vincent. He's trying to save you. That's why he gave me his phone. That's why I'm calling. Raymond was walking slowly through the mall now, heading toward the main concourse. His knee was killing him, but he couldn't think about that. He told me about your daughter, about losing your job, about everything that brought you to this point. He had no right to tell you anything. Maybe not, but he loves you. And he doesn't want to watch you die today. Raymond paused, letting those words sink in. And make no mistake, Vincent, if this keeps going the way it's going, that's how this ends. You know it, I know it. Everyone knows it. More silence. Raymond could hear Vincent's breathing getting heavier. The man was on the edge. One wrong word could push him over. I'm not going to prison, Vincent said. I can't, my daughter. She needs me. Her mom already poisoned her against me. If I go to prison, I'll never get her back, never. You're right, Raymond said, and he meant it. If you go to prison, it'll be almost impossible to rebuild that relationship. The system doesn't make it easy. But Vincent, if you hurt those people in there with you, if someone dies, then you're not just losing your daughter for a few years. You're losing her forever. They're fine. Nobody's hurt. Raymond didn't believe that, but he didn't challenge it. Not yet. Okay, that's good. Let's keep it that way. Let's make sure everyone stays fine, including you. How? How does that happen? There's cops everywhere out there. SWAT is probably on the way. The second I walk out that door, they're going to shoot me. No, they won't, not if you surrender properly. Not if you let those hostages go first. Vincent laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think I'm stupid? The hostages are the only reason they haven't rushed in here already. They're the only leverage I have. He was right, and Raymond knew it. But leverage only worked if you were willing to use it. And Raymond didn't think Vincent was a killer. Not really. Desperate, yes. At the end of his rope, absolutely. But not a cold-blooded murderer. Let me ask you something, Raymond said. The people in there with you? How old are they? Any kids? Vincent didn't answer right away. There's a mom with her daughter. Maybe 8 or 9 years old. Some old couple. A few other people. I don't know. That little girl, Raymond said softly. She's probably about the same age as your daughter, right? Don't do that. I'm not trying to manipulate you, Vincent. I'm trying to help you see what's really happening here. That little girl is terrified right now. She doesn't understand why this is happening. All she knows is that a man with a gun is keeping her from her mom. Her mom is right here with her, but they're both scared. Both thinking this might be the last day they see each other. And your daughter? She's probably going to hear about this on the news. She's going to see her father's picture on TV. Is that what you want her to remember about you? Vincent's voice cracked. I don't know what else to do. I'm drowning here, man. I lost everything, and nobody cared. Nobody helped. The system just chewed me up and spit me out. Raymond had heard this before. The anger at the unfairness of life, the feeling of being invisible, of not mattering. He understood it better than Vincent could know. I know, Raymond said quietly. I know what it feels like when the world stops caring about you. When you become invisible, when you're just another person nobody notices anymore. You don't know anything about me. Maybe not. But I know what desperation feels like. I know what it's like to lose everything you thought defined you. Raymond's limp was getting worse, but he kept moving. The difference between you and me is that I didn't have a gun in my hand when I hit bottom. I just had time. Time to realize that losing everything doesn't mean your story is over. It just means you're in a different chapter. That's easy to say when you're not the one trapped in a jewelry store with cops pointing guns at you. You're right. It is easier to say from out here. But Vincent, those people in there with you, they didn't trap you. The system that failed you, the boss who fired you, the girlfriend who left, none of those people are in that store. Just innocent people buying Christmas presents. Just a mom and her little girl. Raymond could hear movement in the background. Whispered voices. Someone was talking to Vincent. My friends are saying I should hang up, Vincent said. They think you're just stalling. Trying to set up some kind of assault. I'm trying to save your life, Raymond said simply. That's all. No tricks, no games. I'm just a 52-year-old security guard with a bad knee who used to talk to people in your situation for a living. And every single time, the ones who walked out peacefully got a second chance. Every single time. And the ones who didn't, Raymond didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't make it out alive. Their families buried them. Their kids grew up without them. And for what? For money that was never worth it in the first place? The line went quiet again. Raymond had reached the main concourse. He could see the jewelry store from where he stood, about 50 yards away. The security gate was pulled halfway down. Through the gaps, he could see shadows moving. Someone was pacing. How many hostages did you say you had? Raymond asked. I don't know. 10, maybe 12. Are they all in one place? Most of them. A couple are in the back room. Is anyone hurt, Vincent? And I need you to tell me the truth. Because if someone needs medical attention and doesn't get it, this becomes a whole different situation. A long pause. Too long. One of the women, Vincent finally said, his voice dropping. When we were trying to get everyone together, she fought back. Tried to grab Kenny's gun. There was a struggle. She fell. Hit her head on the corner of the display case. There's blood. Raymond's stomach dropped. Is she conscious? She was a minute ago. But she's not looking good. The mom, the one with the daughter, she's trying to help her. But I don't think it's enough. This changed everything. A medical emergency meant time was running out. It meant the police would be under pressure to act. It meant negotiations might not work. Okay, Raymond said, his mind racing. Here's what needs to happen right now. That woman needs medical help. If she doesn't get it soon, she could die. And if that happens, Vincent, everything changes. You go from robbery to murder. Your friends, too. All of you. I know. I know that. But if I let her go, the cops will use it as an excuse to come in. Not if we do this right. Listen to me. Let the paramedics come to the entrance. Let them take the injured woman. That's it. Nobody else, just her. Show good faith. Show that you're not trying to hurt anyone. And what do I get for that? You get to not be a murderer, Raymond said bluntly. You get to keep that little piece of yourself that's still good. The piece that your daughter might still love one day. Raymond could hear Vincent talking to someone else. An argument was starting. The other voices were getting louder, more aggressive. They didn't like where this was going. Vincent, Raymond said urgently, those guys with you, they're not thinking about tomorrow. They're not thinking about consequences. But you are. You're thinking about your daughter. That's the difference between you and them. Don't let them make your decisions. The argument in the background got louder. Then there was a crash. Something breaking. A woman screamed, "Vincent! Vincent, what's happening?" The line went dead. Raymond's heart was pounding. He looked at the jewelry store, saw more movement through the security gate. Shadows shifting. Something was happening in there. Something bad. Behind him, he heard footsteps. Multiple people running. He turned to see SWAT officers moving into position, their weapons raised, faces hidden behind helmets and gear. They were preparing to breach the store. "Wait," Raymond shouted. "I was making progress." "Give me more time!" A commander in full tactical gear approached him. "We've got an injured civilian and shots were fired earlier. We can't wait anymore. Whatever you were trying to do, it's over. We're going in. You can't. If you go in there shooting, people will die." "People might die if we don't," the commander shot back. "Step aside, sir. This is no longer your operation." Raymond looked at the phone in his hand, then at the jewelry store, then back at the SWAT team getting ready to storm in. He'd failed. After 15 years of successful negotiations, after all his experience, he'd failed. Vincent was going to die. Maybe the hostages too. All because Raymond couldn't find the right words. Unless... Raymond looked at the phone again. He didn't have Vincent's number anymore, but he had the call history, and he had one more idea, one last chance. He started dialing. Raymond's fingers moved across the phone screen, pulling up the recent calls. There. Vincent's number. But he wasn't calling Vincent this time. He pressed the button and held the phone to his ear. The SWAT commander was shouting orders behind him. 30 seconds until breach. Maybe less. "Hello?" A young voice answered. Confused. Scared. "This is Raymond, the security guard who talked to you at the van. I need you to do something for me right now. Something important. I'm in handcuffs, man. They've got me behind a police car. I can't... You can talk. That's all I need. Listen carefully. Your brother's phone is off or he's not answering. The police are about to storm that store. In about 20 seconds, they're going in with guns. People are going to get hurt. Maybe killed. Maybe Vincent." The kid's voice went higher. No, they can't. He's not a killer. He just made a bad choice. I know that. You know that. But the police don't know that. All they know is people are in danger." Raymond was talking fast now, watching the SWAT team move into final positions. "I need you to tell me everything you know about Vincent. Right now. What matters to him more than anything? What could I say that would get through to him?" "I already told you about his daughter. Something else. Something I don't know. Something that goes deeper." The kid was quiet for a second that felt like an hour. "His daughter's name is Lily. She's 7. Her birthday is next week. Vincent had this whole plan. He was going to buy her this dollhouse she wanted. The big fancy one from that toy store. He was going to prove to his ex that he could still be a good dad even though he lost everything." Raymond's chest tightened. A little girl named Lily, turning 7 next week, waiting for a birthday present from a father who might not live to give it to her. "That's why he did this," the kid continued, his words rushing out. "He needed money for the dollhouse. For the party. To show up at her birthday and prove he mattered. That he wasn't just some deadbeat dad." Everything clicked into place in Raymond's mind. Vincent wasn't here for himself. He was here because he'd failed as a father, and this was his desperate attempt to fix it. To be something other than the man who'd lost everything. "Thank you," Raymond said. "You might have just saved your brother's life." He hung up and immediately redialed Vincent's number. It rang and rang and rang. 10 seconds, the SWAT commander shouted. The phone kept ringing. 5 seconds. Then finally Vincent answered. "What do you want?" "I told you I can't. Lily's birthday is next week," Raymond said quickly. "She's turning 7. You were going to get her the big dollhouse. The one that would make her smile. The one that would prove you're still her dad even though everything fell apart." Complete silence on the other end. "How do you know about that?" Vincent's voice was barely a whisper. "Your brother told me. Because he loves you. Because he's terrified you're about to die for a birthday present." Raymond saw the SWAT team at the jewelry store entrance, ready to break through. "Vincent, Lily doesn't need a dollhouse. She needs her father. A living father who made a terrible mistake but decided to fix it before it was too late. You don't understand. If I show up empty-handed, if I can't even give her a present, what kind of father does that make me?" "The alive kind," Raymond said. The kind who can tell her he's sorry. The kind who can be there for her 8th birthday, and her 9th, and her 16th, and her wedding someday. The kind who made a bad choice but chose to make it right. Raymond could hear Vincent crying now, not trying to hide it anymore. I just wanted to be a good dad, Vincent said. That's all I wanted. And I screwed it all up. Everything. You're not the first father to screw up. You won't be the last. But you can still choose how this story ends. Raymond's voice was gentle now. Those police officers outside. They're about to come through that door. And when they do, people are going to get hurt. Maybe that little girl in there with you. Maybe her mom. Maybe you. Or you can open that gate right now and let everyone walk out. You can put your weapon down and surrender. You can choose to live. They'll send me to prison. Probably. Yeah. But Vincent, prison isn't forever. You'll serve your time. You'll get out. And when you do, Lily will still be there. She'll be older, but she'll be there. You can rebuild. But if you die today, if that little girl in there with you dies because SWAT has to come in shooting, then it's over. Really over. No second chances. No rebuilding. Just gone. More silence. Raymond could see the SWAT team tensing, ready to move. I'm scared, Vincent finally said. I know. That's okay. Being scared means you're human. It means you still care what happens next. If I walk out there, what happens? You put your hands up. You walk out slowly. The police will arrest you. It won't be pleasant. But you'll be alive. Everyone will be alive. And someday when Lily is old enough to understand, you can tell her that you made the worst mistake of your life. But you chose to fix it before it was too late. Raymond heard voices in the background again. The others. Vincent's friends. They were arguing, telling him not to give up, to hold out longer. But Vincent wasn't listening to them anymore. The woman who got hurt, Vincent said. Will she be okay? If we get her help right now, yes. But we're running out of time. Okay, Vincent said quietly. Okay, I'm going to let them go. All of them. But I need you to promise me something. What? Will you tell Lily something for me? When she's older? Will you tell her that her dad thought about her in the end? That everything he did, even the bad stuff, was because he loved her? Raymond's throat felt tight. You can tell her yourself, Vincent. In a few years when you get out, you can tell her yourself. Will you promise me anyway, just in case? I promise. Okay, I'm opening the gate now. Tell them not to shoot, please. I will. Let the hostages out first. Then you and your friends come out with your hands up. No weapons. Nice and slow. Raymond turned to the SWAT commander. He's surrendering. Hold your fire! He's letting the hostages go. The commander held up a fist, stopping his team. Everyone watched as the security gate at the jewelry store started rolling up. First came the hostages. The mom and her daughter clutching each other and crying. The elderly couple supporting each other. Others Raymond didn't recognize, all of them scared but unhurt. Then 2 men carrying the injured woman between them, moving as carefully as they could. Paramedics rushed forward to help her. Then Vincent appeared in the doorway. His hands were up. His face was wet with tears. Behind him, 3 other men emerged, also with their hands raised. Walk forward slowly, the commander ordered through his megaphone. Get down on your knees. Hands behind your head. They did exactly as they were told. Police moved in quickly, securing them, checking for weapons. It was over in less than a minute. Raymond stood there, phone still in his hand, watching it all unfold. His knee was throbbing. His whole body felt like it might collapse. But everyone was alive. Everyone was safe. That was some impressive work. The SWAT commander approached him, pulling off his helmet. Where'd you learn to negotiate like that? Long time ago, Raymond said. Different life. Johnson came running up, his face red and sweating. Raymond? What the hell did you just do? You were supposed to stay in the parking lot. I know, I'm sorry. Sorry? You talked down 4 armed suspects. You saved 12 hostages. Johnson seemed to run out of words. Why didn't you ever tell anyone you could do that? Raymond shrugged. Nobody asked, the story spread fast. By the next day, it was on every news channel. The security guard everyone overlooked. The old guy with the limp who saved the day. Reporters wanted interviews. The mall wanted to give him an award. Other security companies offered him jobs with big titles and better pay. Raymond declined it all. On Monday morning, he showed up for his usual shift. Same uniform, same limp, same coffee that was always cold. Johnson tried to convince him to take the promotion again. Raymond just smiled and said he liked his quiet life. liked walking his patrols, liked being left alone. But something had changed, even if Raymond didn't want to admit it. The other guards looked at him differently now, with respect, with curiosity. They started asking him questions, asking for advice, treating him like he mattered. People in the mall noticed him too. Some thanked him. Others just nodded with recognition. He wasn't invisible anymore. A week later, Raymond was walking through the parking lot when he saw something that made him stop. A woman and a little girl about 7 years old getting into their car. The girl was holding a balloon. Birthday balloon. It made him think of Vincent. Of a father sitting in a jail cell missing his daughter's birthday. Of a little girl named Lily who would grow up knowing her dad had made terrible choices, but had chosen in the end to do the right thing. Raymond pulled out his phone and made a note to himself. In a few months, when things settled down, he'd reach out to Vincent's lawyer. Make sure someone connected Lily with her father. Make sure Vincent kept the promise he'd made to himself, to be there for his daughter even from behind bars. Because second chances mattered. Raymond knew that better than anyone. He'd been given one 3 years ago when he survived that crash. Been given another chance when that van pulled up to the mall. And he'd be damned if he let Vincent waste his. Raymond finished his coffee and continued his patrol, limping slowly through the parking lot, watching for anything out of place. Just another quiet day. Just another guard nobody really noticed. Except now when people looked at him, they saw something different. They saw the guard who wasn't weak at all, who'd never been weak, just waiting for the moment that mattered, and when that moment came, he'd been ready.